guys. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to everyone. So, before I get started and talk about the program that I want to talk about, I just need to get this out of my chest because it's been lingering and bothering me for so long, for quite a while, actually. I just want to say, I really appreciate each and every one of you joining me live, supporting me, dropping comments, listening to my perspective and my opinions, what's been going on, especially this war that's going on in Iran and how it's affecting American people and how this is not our war to fight and not our war to for us to deal with. And I just want to make this very clear. I just want to, I never, not never, but I just don't want people to think that, like I have what's the right word? That, that I have like a lot of knowledge when it comes to like politics, when it comes to war, because I don't. I'm very ignorant when it comes to certain areas like that because that is not my expertise. And I'm never ever going to come up here and say that I know this, I know that, which I factually don't. That's why I like to do my research and follow up on things, read up on things before I come up live and talk to you guys about it and give you my perspective about things. Knowledge is power. I love to learn. I love to educate myself because there's a lot of things I'm not aware of and I don't know, to be honest with you. And I will never come up here and tell you guys that I know certain things which I don't know. I like to do my research and look up things before I even have a discussion about it and before I give you my input. And I just wanted to say that first of all. Second of all, I had this discussion with my best friend and I mentioned this earlier this week that we had a heated debate about this war. And I have to say, it bothers me to the fact that, and this is her opinion and I respect her opinion, but it bothers me that she's okay with it. She's okay with the war that President Trump started with Iran, and she's not even aware, like, this is not our battle to fight. This is not our war to fight, because I told her, like, President Trump campaigned about this, that he was anti-war. He was not going to get in the middle of Middle East war. None of that. He was going to put America first. He was not going to let us bleed out in the Middle East and not get involved, because that's what we voted for. 77 million, I believe, million people who voted for Trump, that we don't want war. We are anti-war. Especially he said it too. And he's been saying that for the last 10 years. Now, fast forward, now we having it. Now we having a war because saying to the American people that Iran is an immediate threat to us. And that doesn't make any sense to me, okay? And like I said, I will never come up here and say that I'm educated about things in politics, because I don't know anything about politics, okay? But what I do know is I have common sense and I can read, I can look up and do research. And the research that I did look up and found that when two former presidents, President Barack Obama and Joe Biden, Prime Minister Bibi wanted these two former presidents, wanted to start a war. And what did these two men say? No. No. The answer is no, and I reject it. And Bibi told him, well, if you don't strike now, then they're going to attack us. And these two gentlemen said no. And guess what? What happened? You want to guess? I can tell you, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So I just don't understand how President Trump seems very smart and intelligent in what people are saying. And two former presidents said no. And now nothing happened when they turned Bibi down. And now Bibi tried again to convince President Trump, if you don't attack now, if you don't strike now, then they're going to attack America. They're going to attack us. And now looking back and reflecting, I'm not even mad at Bibi, to be honest with you. Is he evil? Yes. Is he a war criminal? Absolutely. I have no skin in the game to say anything nice about Bibi because I can't stand him. I don't even know him, but I don't like him. Okay, I don't like what he represents, to his people and to his country. Now, with that being said, he's very clever and he's very smart because Trump got played. I'm sorry to say he got played. He got played by Bibi because I don't understand a businessman as Trump will listen to Bibi and say, well, Iran is an immediate threat. They have nuclear weapons, which, by the way, they never provide proof of weapons that they were going to use against us. They never said that. They're just giving talking points and saying that they have weapons of mass destruction, and if we don't hit first, then they're going to do something to us to attack us, which they don't even have proof of that. If they would have provided proof to the American people, then I would like to say, okay, they have a valid point to strike first or do what they have to do. But until this day, they still haven't done that. They're just giving us talking points saying that there was going to attack, there was nuclear weapons and everything, when there was none of that because they never provided shred of evidence of that. So that makes me to believe that I'm not trusting what the president and what other people and Trump's administrator are saying. I'm not trusting that because they never provide that to the American people. And I just have to say, Bibi's very clever and he's very smart and he knew exactly what he was doing. The question is, and I'm asking myself, why did Trump give in? Why did he actually did the first strike, of Iran? Maybe Bibi has something on President Trump. Maybe Bibi's blackmailing him. Maybe Trump is scared because after what happened in Pennsylvania, no one has investigated the attempt assassination. It's like it never happened, and who can blame him? He almost got killed, not once, but twice. And President Trump has a huge family, you know what I mean? So I just think that President Trump is in a lot of pressure. He's afraid because he's probably thinking, well, if they couldn't protect me and that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and I just had like minimum security and I was not even president yet, and they got me once, nicked my ear, and then they got me again in Mar-a-Lago, what make you think that once I'm in office, they're going to protect me and my family? So I have to play ball. That's probably what he's thinking in his mind, probably. Because I just don't understand why he would entertain this, why he would just follow along with Bibi instead of telling him, no, I'm not going to attack Iran. There's no immediate threat. There's nothing to support your theory, Bibi. And like I said, Bibi's the intel. And he's very smart, and I give him credit for that. Trump played along in Bibi's game, and it panned through. He followed through with it, and now we are dealing with the consequences because now President Trump is backpedaling and figuring out, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Because he took a big risk by doing this, by starting this war, and they the one that started it first. They the one that made that first strike, and that's what I was telling my best friend about it. And she kept going on and on about what happened in Virginia. And I'm like, I get that. And that's sad what happened. And I'm not trying to be harsh. And I told her that, but I'm desensitized with the school shooting, college students, all that. That's just a regular thing every now and then. And I told her, without me being insensitive, and my heart goes out to the family that lost their loved ones in Virginia and that shooting, what they have to do with the war that we're dealing with now? We have what they have to do with it. That's what I asked her. And then she kept going on and trying to deflect and not answer my question. And I said, listen, I love you to pieces and I respect your opinion and you respect mine, but facts don't care about feelings. Okay. That's what I told her. Facts don't care about feelings. Okay. What happened, that strike, that first strike that our government did and hit that school and that, I believe in that military base that killed the first strike leaded to 165 to 168 people were killed, including students, teachers, and some parents. And in the report, death tolls of over 175 people, which I spoke about this week. Young girls aged between 7 and 12 who were in class at the time. And I asked her, think about this. If this was your daughter in school, in the middle of class, and an airstrike bomb just boom, what would you say to that? That's coming from our government. What would you say? She didn't say anything. She was just silent. And I told her this is absolutely evil and disgusting. And we should not be in the middle of the Middle East war. We should not be involved. Have we been through enough with the October 7? Spending our taxpaying dollars on their war, then we should be focusing on us. That's what I told her. Like, how do we benefit from this war? That's why I asked her. I said, how do we benefit from this war? I asked her that. I said, really think about it. Get your feelings out of it, because you're within your feelings. I told her, I love you, but you're in your feelings. I asked her point blank, how do we benefit from this war? That's one question. Second, how does war benefit the American people? Do we get paid? Are our problems going to get better by this war? I asked that. How that help us? It really don't. It really doesn't, to be honest with you. It does not help us at all. And that's what I'm trying to explain to her. And I'm not trying, and I told her, I'm not trying to convince you to respect my point of view, but I'm just giving you the facts here. And then, and then she kind of like said, well, you shouldn't be listening to or watching TikTok. And I'm like, excuse me? So what are you trying to say? So I should just go by listening to the news? Because Fox News, CNN News, all the news outlets, they don't tell the truth. President Trump, sure enough, didn't tell the truth at all, because he lied. He blatantly lied to the American people. I'm going by research, reading, looking up things, and quite honestly, I told her, to be honest with you, TikTok is more informative than what they're telling us. That's what I told her, okay? And I didn't take that as an insult at all, but I just shoot it back to her, and she couldn't answer my question of how this war benefit us. And I told her, Bibi been to that White House 8 times. 8 times visit that White House to influence Trump. Now, a lot of people go say, well, no, Trump is smart. He's a businessman. He wouldn't listen to Bibi. Of course he did. Because everyone tried to tell Trump not to do this. Charlie Kirk, the people are around him, especially this guy, Joe Kent, which, by the way, I never even heard of this man before, ever, until what happened when he resigned on Wednesday, I believe. Tuesday or Wednesday. I never heard of Joe Kent. And when he resigned, and he's a counter-terrorist, I'm like, oh my gosh. And he was warning President Trump. A lot of people told him that this war is not going to benefit us. It's going to hurt us. But he didn't care, because I believe maybe it's a possibility he's being blackmailed by Bibi, because maybe Bibi has a lot of dirt on President Trump. Because, think about it. They have not released the 3 million files of Epstein. They haven't. They said they're done. They're not going to release any more, which they should. And Congress signed by this, saying that they should release everything, and they choose not to. So, like I said before in the past, President Trump is protecting his friends. I don't know if President Trump is in those files, but to me, it clearly make it seem like he is, because why would you not release the 3 million files left? Then you have something to hide. You look guilty. It's bad enough that you're protecting your pedophile friends, but for you not releasing it, then obviously there's something there. There's something there. And again, maybe Trump is getting a lot of pressure. Maybe he's afraid of his life because he's protecting his family, because like I say, he has a huge family, and that's why he's playing ball. That maybe he's doing this. Because again, I don't know how this war benefits us. I really don't. It's going to hurt us. And he's taking a huge risk. President's taking a huge risk by doing this, by starting this war with Iran, when I keep saying there were no immediate threats. Because if they wanted to hurt us or do something towards, they would have done it decades ago. Because Bibi even said it, which I showed you a video of this week, starting from 1992, 1995 to early 2000, probably in the 80s, whatever, saying that Iran is going to do something. Iran is going to do this. Iran is going to do that. And nothing happened. So I just don't understand why Trump would allow this. And I believe in the back of my mind that he knew that Iran was not an immediate threat, but again, Bibi's in his head, in his ears, and he's following along what Bibi's saying. Because like I said, Bibi's the intel. He visited the White House 8 times. He called the shots. And I'm not even mad at Bibi for that. I'm mad at President Trump. I'm mad at President Trump for allowing this to happen, because I voted for the man. I voted for the man because I believed in him. I believed in him when he said, no war. American first, going to do great with the economics, going to do great with a lot of things that he promised. The only thing, in my opinion, that he did well in, closing the border, that's about it. That's about it, in my opinion, that he closed the border, getting rid of the criminals. Other than that, everything that he promised, everything that he campaigned, guys, it's a total failure and a total betrayal, just like I said this week. And I voted for the guy. And I can admit that I was wrong for doing that. But again, what option did I have? It was him or Kamala. And I really did believe in him that he would continue doing the right thing and putting America first, because that's what he promised. That's what he campaigned. But he was not putting America first. Instead, he's risking everything that he built, his legacy and everything, for what? For a war that we may not win, a war that we're going to start World War III that is going to affect millions of Americans, that we're going to take effect of it. Our tax-paying dollars is going to another war, paying for the nuclear weapons. How's that fair to us? And he's saying, President Trump's saying, well, it's not going to last long. It's just only going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's 12 days. It's 12 days. It hasn't been over yet, and it's not over. But anyway, I was just telling her that. I'm like, I love you to pieces, but you have to do your research. You can't be within your feelings. I get it, but you have to, and I told her, you have to look at the bigger picture. What are we benefit out of this? What are we getting out of this? She still couldn't answer the question. She couldn't. I'm like, you know what? I love you, but you need to do more research. That's what I said. And we ended at that because it was getting a little heated and escalated. And not saying that I will say anything that would regret to hurt her feelings, but she just needs to be more educated. And just like I told her don't pretend that I'm the smartest person in the room. You know, I love to learn things. I like to be knowledgeable of something that that I'm passionate about, that I want to talk about, and give people my perspective and my opinion, and criticize too. But I will never ever come up here and say that I know it all, or I know this, I know that. I'm learning just like everyone else, and whatever information that I have, that I share it with you guys. And I would love to people share back to me what they know and educate me as well. Because like I said, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And I told her this. But anyway, let's go to Joe Kent. Now, this gentleman, I didn't know this man from a hole on the wall. But when he resigned he was a director of National Intelligence Counterterrorist Center. And he wrote a letter to President Trump. And I believe he did this on Tuesday or Wednesday. I bet Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days. So excuse me. And I'm just going to read to you briefly the resign letter that he sent to President Trump. So let me just read it to you. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no immediate threat to our nation. And it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. That's powerful, what he said. You know what I mean? And it continues on. And I recommend that you read the entire resign letter. But I didn't know this about him. Again, I didn't know this man at all. Then he's continued to say, as a veteran who deployed it to combat 11 times, and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife, Shannon, in a war malfunction by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that does not deserve benefit, that does not, let me start all over, I'm sorry. Next generation off to fight and die in a war that served no benefit to the American people, nor justify the cost of American lives. And I agree with them. And that's what I was trying to explain to my best friend. Why should we send our sons and daughters, women and children, our brothers and sisters to fight a war that have nothing to do with us? Why do that? That's what I asked her. Why? Nothing to do with us. So you rather risk American people, American lives for them, for a war for Israel? Why they don't send their boots on the ground? Why they don't send their soldiers? Why you have to send our American soldiers? For what? They want to kill our American people. And I told her, don't you see that? You don't see what's happening here? And I told her, you're so blindsided. You're so, and I'm not trying, and I was not trying to be disrespectful because I love my best friend, but sometimes, you know, she doesn't want to see the clear picture of what's happening here. And I just feel like, and I told her, you're being brainwashed. You really are. You're believing what the media is saying when you're not actually doing your research and finding out the truth. What they're doing is propaganda. What they're doing is just telling us what we want to hear. But a lot of us are onto them and not believing the bullshit. We're not believing it because it's all lies. It's all lies. And now President Trump, he's an epic failure, okay? Because this whole thing, his whole plan of starting his war is collapsing. And everyone can see it. But he wants us to pretend that everything is okay. He's doing press conference, reassuring the people, everything is okay, when everything is not okay. I just wish he would have just been honest. And it seemed like President Trump is very prideful, man, because it seemed like when he's wrong, he doesn't admit to it. And when he knows that he's wrong, he could have just easily say, listen, did a brief press conference and listen, we effed up. We messed up. We shouldn't have not gone to war with Iran. We messed up. We're going to fix the situation right away, which probably he has time. If it's not too late already, he has time to fix this. He has time to turn this around if it's not too late. I don't know. You know, I don't work in the White House, but he chose not to do that, I believe. And he chose not to, like, you know, be humble and humble himself. Like, listen, we messed up. I believe, like, us Americans, we're forgiving. We're forgiving. If you stand up and humble yourself, President Trump, and they said that you messed up, it was an honest mistake, and it was wrong to go to this war. Because I believe last summer, they said that they were Iran was a immediate threat, nothing happened. They was going to do something, nothing happened. What changed from last summer to now, from January? I don't understand what changed. Anyway, my point is, he's not going to man up, which he should have. If he would have man up and did a brief press conference, and just tell the American people that he messed up, he was wrong, he rushed to judgment, okay? Forget about Bibi. He don't have to mention Bibi, but if he just came and just said, we rushed to judgment, we were wrong, we would have been forgiving. We'd be pissed. I'm not gonna lie, we'd be pissed and upset, like saying to ourselves, why did you have to do it in the first place? Because you had a lot of people in your ears that told you not to do it. You had Charlie Kirk, who was kind of like an advisor in the White House, told you not to do it when he was alive. He had multiple people told him not to do it, but instead he did not listen, and he just did what he wanted to do. It's like a child. When you tell a child not to touch the oven, and the child keeps doing it, what happens? The child's going to get burned. And that's what I feel like with President Trump. He's playing with fire, and now he's getting burned in the process, and he doesn't even realize it. And he's trying to reassure the American people that everything is good, we're okay. I'm like, who are you fooling? Because we're not good. We're not okay. Okay? And this article that I want to share with you, okay, and I'm pulling it up right here. And it says the Iran war costs estimately update to $11.3 billion at day 6. 16.5 billion a day 12. Okay, and the article reads that the U.S. Department of Defense has reportedly informed Congress that the first 6 days of the war cost $11.3 billion. Okay, $11.3 billion. Our taxpaying dollars, honey. Okay, our taxpaying dollars is going to them while we're suffering, when we need help ourselves with healthcare, with affordable groceries, cost of living. I don't understand this. And they said that they're poor. They said they're broke. Where are they getting the money from then if they're broke? That's why I don't buy it. Where the money's coming from? When that money should be applying to us, to American people. That's why I was like trying to tell. I don't understand this. I don't understand this concept. This is not putting American first. Spending $11.3 billion a day, $16.5 billion a day. And you guys can look that article up and read it for yourself at your spare time. But it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Now take a listen to Trump talk about the reopening of Strait Hormuz. I never even heard of this. Okay, I had to look it up and Google it and find out the definition of it. Okay, so I'm just going to read to you the definition because I didn't even know what that was. That tells you I'm not knowledgeable when it comes to politicians and all that stuff. That's why I look it up and do my research. So when I'm with you guys live, that I can explain to you what it is, because some people don't know what it is. So the Strait of Hormuz is a narrow vital maritime choke point connecting the Persian Gulf, to the Gulf of Oman and the Heberic Sea, bordered by Iran to the north and Iran and to the south, as the only sea passes to Persia Gulf to the open ocean. Now, my understanding of this is that it's closed, okay? And President Trump is trying to reopen it because it's roughly 20% of global oil consumption, making it critical for global energy security. So basically, we need 20% of that. And if it's not reopened, we're screwed, basically, in layman's terms. But take a listen to what President Trump had to say about the Strait of Hormuz,
Just immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we could, but it takes two to tango. We have to get people to take their billion-dollar ship and drive it up. If when Pepe has his big sugar ships coming around and they cost $1 billion, and we say, I think it's okay now, Pepe, take your ship, drive it through the Strait of Hormuz. He may say, let me wait a little while. Now, we are pounding that area, that coast, as you know, left side. We're pounding it, like really pounding it hard. And again, they may have no mindset. We hit every one of their mine droppers. They call it the mine layers, right? The ships. They're pretty sophisticated ships. Every one of them is gone. But it only takes one. So it's a little unfair. You win a war, but they have no right to be doing what they're doing.
So basically, as of March 18 of 2026, the Strait of Hormuz is experienced a blockade by Iran and the ongoing U.S.-Israeli conflict, several restriction traffic. While not fully closed to all ships, Iran has limited access to tankers and many cases of only allowing cargoes from certain countries to pass, creating significant disruption to global oil and gas transport. So basically, layman's terms, what I'm understanding is that there's certain oil and gas have to transport in certain areas, and the Strait of Hormuz they close certain areas, I guess. But what my understanding is that we need 20% of it, and if we don't get 20% of it, everything goes high, meaning gas, our food, cost of living, everything, and we don't want that. We don't want that. We need this to be reopened. And if they can't figure it out, at the end of the day, and I don't mean to scare anyone, we're screwed. We're screwed. And this is what President Trump is doing, okay, by starting this war with Iran, thinking that he said that it's going to be over within a week or 2 weeks. And this has been 12 days so far. Now, take a listen to Bob McNally. He was on 60 Minutes doing an interview on 60 Minutes, and he explained it more detail of how this will affect Americans. And it's much, a little bit more broader. So it's much better that he explained it better than I can. I just told you just the gist of it, but he can explain it more better than I can. So let's take a listen to what he has to say.
White House during an energy crisis. There are no policy solutions to a prolonged closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
You're saying there's not much a White House, a president can do to stop this bleeding.
You open up the toolkit, and the tools in there, the options range from marginal through symbolic to deeply unwise. Escorts are a sideshow. Strategic stock releases are a sideshow.
Gas tax holiday?
Gas tax holiday, sideshow. You got to restore the flow of the Strait of Hormuz.
Even if the White House, President Trump, declared an end of this war today, tomorrow, is there any guarantee that Iran would open up the strait and it's back to business as usual?
No guarantee. It's not like there's a big gate that swings open in front of the Hormuz and Iran locks the gate. So all Iran has to do is demonstrate every day, every other day, that it has the means and the ability to attack ships in the strait, and that will be enough. I've worked in the White House during an energy.
So basically, President Trump is trying to reassure people everything's going to be okay, everything's going to reopen again, and it's not. It's not, because you know why? Because now President Trump is asking for help. He realized that he messed up, he effed up, and now he's asking for help from different allies to help him, like India, China. And you know what they said? No. The answer is no. They don't want to get involved. They said that you made this mess, you started this war, you take care of it. You deal with it. We don't want to get involved. And now Trump now he's upset and he's crying like a baby because they are turning him down. Let's take a listen of Trump's reaction when the other countries denied to help him.
Would rather not get involved, sir. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, you mean for 40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved in something?
Pause. Yeah, we don't want to get involved, President Trump, because you started this and we don't want to get involved. We don't want this war. We don't want this fight. You started it. And now you're going to be mad at them because they saying no? That's your fault, my guy. That's his fault. Who told him to start this war? He shouldn't be listening to Bibi. He should have listened to his own intel and really found out if Iran was a immediate threat, if Iran really had a war of mass destruction that would attack America, attack the U.S. He should have done that. But no, Bibi was his intel, like I said this week. Bibi was his intel. Bibi is that one that's talking to his ears. Bibi is telling him what to do and what to say. So now that everything is backfiring and all the things that you're doing is failing, because you're an epic failure, now you want to ask other countries for help. No, and I don't blame them. Who can blame them? No, they don't want to get involved, and rightfully so. They should not be involved. You started it, then you need to finish it. Work your magic, President Trump. You're a negotiator. You know, you have business knowledge. Stop the bleeding, because right now you're bleeding. This war is bleeding us and it's hurting us. So stop it. Do what you can to stop this war before we will have a huge ripple effect behind us. Now, a lot of people say it's early. You're going to wait and see what happens. But if this keeps prolonging, I don't know what we're going to do. But we're going to wait and see. You know, I'm not the future. I'm not God. But it doesn't look good. By seeing what's happening, it does not look good for the American people. But let him finish speaking what he needs to say. What an idiot. Excuse me.
That is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left.
Oh, very minor. That's nice. Anyway, I digress. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Check out this TikTok video, which is very hilarious, about him talking about Strait of Hormuz and how it's affecting a lot of people. Not even, us, but other countries as well. And he telling people that President Trump is lying. He's not really being honest with the American people about the Hormuz and how it's really going to affect us on a long haul. Take a listen.
Trump forgot to tell the American people this. Check this
Iran's
out.
new supreme leader has issued his first message since the start of the war. An Associated Press translation shows the written message says the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed and calls for Iran's Gulf neighbors to shut down U.S. bases. Meanwhile, Iranian forces attacked at least 2 oil tankers in the Persian Gulf overnight and destroyed a massive oil facility at Oman's biggest port. Now gas prices are rising for the 12th straight day as governments rush to prevent a global crisis.
So I thought the Strait of Hormuz was open. Never mentioned they closed it, nor did he mention they blew some shit up. I was wondering when I went to the gas station this morning why the gas went up an extra 30 cents. Meanwhile, the oil that he got from Venezuela We don't even use that type of oil. You know how much shit they gonna have to do to that oil to get it to how we really need it? Meanwhile, the prices of the gas is about to sky fucking rocket. I didn't ask for this shit. You didn't ask for this shit. But inquiring minds want to know. How are you feeling at that gas pump right now?
It's
Count
hurting me.
me out.
That man was funny. I'm sorry, he's funny, and I don't blame him. Like the gas pump is really hurting me. It really is, and I don't know where you live. I live in Orlando. I don't know what state you guys live, but it's really affecting me. Okay, because it's getting expensive. Thank God for the people that work from home, because you really don't have to go much. You don't really, you don't have to go anywhere. Like my sister, she works from home. She said she haven't put gas in her car for 2 weeks. Good for her. My husband, he works from home, so he don't have to worry about that. But it's for me, I commute. You know what I mean? From home to work to home. Sometimes do errands as well. It gets pricey. You know what I mean? It's expensive. You know what I mean? Who can afford it? Some people, I can't even fill my tank up half the time. Sometimes I have to put $15. That's all I have because it's just too expensive, and I have to wait until payday. It's just crazy. It's just ridiculous. And I just don't understand how people say that this war benefits us. How? Unless you're a millionaire, unless you make some good ass money, it's not really affecting your pockets by paying gas. Like most people, it's affecting me. It's affecting most people who live paycheck by paycheck. So some people say, well, I don't care. It's just gas. It doesn't really affect me that much. Okay, great. I'm telling you, it affects me. Okay, because a woman like me who works my ass off, who pays my bills, who do the right thing, sometimes I just don't have it. Sometimes people just don't have it. And it's just incredible. But anyway, let me not get worked up. But the next video that I want to share with you guys, now I like Tucker Carlson. Some people don't. I really do. I really like what he has to say, what he stands for, his principles and everything. I highly recommend that you watch the interview that he had with Joe Kent for the first time. This is Joe Kent's first interview since he resigned from the White House as a counter-terrorist. And it's 2 hours long, and I recommend that you watch it because I took a lot of information from that interview, a lot of Joe perspective of him resigning, him being attacked from the White House and his colleagues. He talked about Charlie Kirk and how people didn't want him to investigate. They wanted him to shut it down. It's just incredible the things that he was talking about, and especially with the war in Iran. You definitely have to watch the whole thing in entirety. And I'm going to show you bits and clips of it and talk to you about it and give you my perspective. But the interview was so incredible. And obviously, there's a lot of things that Joe cannot talk about because some of the stuff is classified. And I honestly have to say he did well in his interview. He seemed like a very, very nice, humble Christian man. And, you know, my heart goes out to him when he lost his wife several years ago. And I just want to say thank you for serving. Thank you for fighting for our country. He deployed it 11 times. And then this is Trump's response before I show you the interview of him and Tucker Carlson. This is Trump's response. And I have to say it's utterly disgusting. It's disgusting, just his response for what he said when Joe Kent resigned. Take a listen.
Counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security.
Pause. Weak on security. If that was the case, you know he's upset. That's why he's saying this, okay? Because let me read to you again what he said. Because if you said that he was weak, why would you hire him? Why would you hire him if he was weak? Answer that. He's upset because he resigned, and he even said, and I'm going to read it to you, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran opposed no immediate threat to our nation. And it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel. And it is powerful American lobby. So President Trump is upset. Okay, he's upset that Joe Kent said that Iran is not an immediate threat. A lot of people are upset in the White House what Joe is saying. That's why they're attacking him. And my thing is, why would you attack him now? Because he said that? Because he's not agree, he's not for this war. He's against it. This man employed it 11 times, fighting for his country, and then for the audacity for President Trump and his colleagues saying that to him, it makes no sense. Because you didn't say anything before. But now that he's telling the American people that there's no threat, that's why they're upset. Because he's telling the truth and he's coming forward with this. And that's why President Trump, among other people, are upset, and that's why they're attacking him. Because when you tell the truth, they attack you. Call you all the names. Saying that you're a spy, you're leaking information, all that stuff. Because they look bad. They look bad at the end, and then you call them out on their bullshit and their lies. That's why he's upset.
Very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat.
Correct.
Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it.
It's clearly not true, and he's lying. That's the thing. That's why he's upset. It's a full-faced lie. There were no threat to us at all. There's still to this day, like I said, cannot even provide proof. What threat? They can't even do that. So I just don't understand this, but it's just crazy. But this is the interview that Kent was asked by Tucker Carlson, and the interview. Let me just the question. Yeah, Kent was asked the question about President Trump being pressured about this whole war. Take a listen to what he has to say about this.
Does it require to get a president who campaigned against exactly this thing for 10 years to do exactly this thing?
I think there's two schools of thought. One is the media echo chamber, the donors, the way the Israelis come in and kind of launder the information. The other option is much darker. President Trump is very smart. I think President Trump has a gift for interpreting large sets of data and making very key strategic decisions. And so when the president sees that he's got issues with his own security detail, when he sees what happened in Butler, the other assassination attempts, he sees what happened with Charlie, I think it's reasonable to believe that somewhere in his head he thinks that, like, maybe I don't have a choice.
And that's what I said. Maybe he doesn't have a choice, because everything that's been happening surrounding him, almost been assassinated, not once, but twice. Charlie Kirk assassination, the Jeffrey Epstein files. Maybe he's afraid of his life. Maybe he feels like no one can protect me. If no one can protect me, what makes you think they're going to protect my family? And he loves his family. His family is everything to him. So that's why probably he has to play ball. I don't know. I'm not in the man's head, but it seems like he has a lot to lose if he doesn't comply with Bibi. That's all. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
They could harm me, or they could harm my family. And if they can't keep me safe, I believe the president deeply cares. I believe he's very courageous. I think if it was just a matter of worry about his own physical safety, I don't think he cares. We saw that in Mildor. But he does love his family, and he's got a big family. And so somewhere in his head, if they can't keep me safe, what about my family? So maybe the president was just simply deceived by the echo chamber we described, and that's how we got to this place. But it's also, there's a potential that there's an element of coercion, intimidation, whatever words you want to use there, that is also influencing his decision-making.
Decision-making. I agree 100%. President Trump is being influenced by someone, and that someone is Bibi. I 100% believe that. He's being influenced. Now this next clip, Tucker Carlson asks Kent, can this war be fixed? Can it be fixed? And this is Kent's answer. Joe,
is potentially the end of a lot for the United States. At this point, it feels like there's no way out. What's the answer?
It's going to take drastic action. The good news is this is something that President Trump is uniquely qualified to fix. The main issue is what the Israelis are doing. And he needs to very forcefully, and probably with a new team of diplomats, go to the Israelis and say, you're done. We will defend you. However, you are done going on the offense. This is our war. We're paying for it. We're bleeding for it. If you choose to continue this offensive operation, we will start withdrawing features of your defense system so that you will be on your own. We have to say that to them. And I know.
See, that's it. I agree with him. Take charge, take action, not deal with the bullshit. But he's not doing that. And I agree with Joe. If they would just say that and play ball with them, I would think that they would comply. There will be some push, you know. But if they go back and forth and then they demand what they want, us Americans, the government, telling them that, like Joe said, maybe this war can be over. It can be fixed. But is he going to do that? We don't know. I don't think so, because it seemed like Trump is a very prideful man, and it seemed like he don't like to lose, but it's going to hurt us in the long run. We're going to bleed out of this disgusting war that have nothing to do with American people, but just have people die for no reason. What's the cause? What is the cause for American soldiers, our brothers and sisters, our women and children, your children, to die for what cause? That's what I like to know. What's the whole meaning of this? Makes no sense.
I know a lot of people who like the Israelis are going to say that's wrong, they're under fire. But if we don't address our relationship with the Israelis, even if we come up with a temporary ceasefire, we'll be right back in this same situation in very short order.
How hard will that be?
It will be hard, but again, President Trump can do it.
The question is, you guys, will he do it? That's $1 million question. Joe Kent said he can do it. He can try to end this really quickly. The question is, will he do it? And I'm just telling you, no, he's not. He's already so deep into it, he's not going to. Okay? Now, check out this next clip of Joe explaining to Tucker Carlson, stating that, and he did say that in his resign letter, that Iran was no immediate threat to us. To us. He said it multiple times, so take a listen.
You're saying that there was no intelligence that you saw with the highest level clearance, obviously involved in this conversation, that showed an imminent threat from Iran to the United States?
No, unless we took certain actions, unless we came after them in a way that they thought threatened the regime.
Former National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent gave his first interview since his resignation from the Trump administration on the Tucker Carlson show. The resignation is the highest profile rebuke yet of the Iran war from a Trump administration insider. Kent's claim defies what President Donald Trump said in his speech announcing the U.S. strikes on Iran.
Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime.
Kent is a controversial figure who has faced criticism for promoting conspiracy theories and has past associations with far-right figures, including white nationalists and a Nazi sympathizer.
But there was no intelligence that said, hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack. They're going to do some kind of a 9/11 at Pearl Harbor, etc. They're going to attack one of our bases. There was none of that intelligence.
All right, you guys. I was trying to look for a clipping for a next video for you. Let me just pull myself back up. There you go. So what do you think about that? The next one I want to talk to you about is him saying that, talked about the nuclear weapon of Iran that they didn't have. So I'm trying to pull that up for you guys. So just give me a brief moment. I thought I did for some weird reason, but I just couldn't find it. Oh yeah, there it is. It's right there. Look at that. Got it all this time. So.
On the verge of getting a nuclear weapon.
No, they weren't, 3 weeks ago when this started, and they weren't in June either. I mean, the Iranians have had a religious ruling, a fatwa, against actually developing a nuclear weapon since 2004. That's been in place since 2004. That's available in the public sphere. But then also we had no intelligence to indicate that fatwa was being disobeyed or it was on the cusp of being lifted. The Iranian strategy, it's actually pretty pragmatic. The Iranians are obviously aware of what's taking place in their region. And their strategy was to not completely abandon their nuclear program because they saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya when he said, hey, I've got no more nukes. I'll do what you say. I'll give up my nukes.
And we gave him the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, we regime changed him, and he was executed by his own people in the most horrific way.
Oh, sodomized by a bayonet. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that's the lesson I think that the entire region took from that when Hillary Clinton.
Unfortunately, that is what the neocon, neoliberal warmongers That's the lesson that they showed everyone in the region. And then conversely, the Iranians also knew that if they came out and said, okay, we've got a nuke, whether they were bluffing or not, right. Saddam Hussein, Iraq right next door. So they kind of had
he
this,
hung, I think.
He was hung by his own people, after a bloody, war that's still essentially going on inside of Iraq. So the Iranians' position, when viewed from the lens of the region, was actually fairly pragmatic. They were preventing, themselves from developing a bomb, but they still wanted the ability. They wanted the ability to enrich. They wanted the ability to have some components so that they weren't completely stripped of it. And when we always assessed that they were either several months or a year, 2 years away from actually being able to develop a nuclear weapon. And that's not because the Iranians are stupid people. I think we can tell right now that the Iranians are anything but stupid. They had the ability, I think, that the brain power to actually develop one, or they could have simply traded a ton of oil with Pakistan or someone else to actually get a nuclear weapon. They were not doing that. We had no intelligence to indicate that they were.
So you heard it from the horse's mouth, okay? He was a counter terrorism, okay? That's what he does. That was his field. That's what he was been doing that for a very, very long time, okay? He even said there was no data indicating that there was nuclear war that was going to strike us or Israel. And now that he's coming forward and saying all these things, people are mad at him. People are mad at him, President Trump, his colleagues, everyone, and now they're going after him, saying that he's a traitor, he's leaking information for just speaking the truth, that we have no business going to start a war that have nothing to do with us. And they're mad about that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't care about American lives. They don't care about your children, the men, the women, your brothers, your sisters. They don't care about that because they want more people to be boots on the ground. So, God forbid, if they don't make it, and if it doesn't work out, then they get a Purple Heart or a medal or whatever. But that's not enough. They're dead. They're gone. They're no longer. And again, fighting for what? What cause are they fighting for? And they don't care about that. They don't care about the American people. And this is why that we need to open our eyes and be educated and realize that the the government, they're not for us. They're not. And the crazy thing is they want us to be against each other. I just feel like we're more powerful when we're together and we're not fighting with one another. And if we stand together as brothers and sisters, what can the government do? Now, we're going to have different opinions and different debate about certain things, and that's fine. That's healthy to debate. We're going to agree to disagree, but they want us to be apart. They want to pull us apart and be against each other and attack one another instead of us united together. I feel like when we are together and we're united together, we're more powerful than they realize because we are the people. We are the voices. We are stronger than we realize, but they know that too. And that's why they're trying to divide us. And we can't allow that to happen. We cannot allow our government to divide us. We need to come together as brothers and sisters and keep running this race and fight together against what they're doing. Because what they're doing is absolutely wrong. This is not what we voted for at all. The next segment that I want to share with you guys is Joe Kent talking about Charlie Kirk and of the investigation and everything. And when I listened to this whole interview, it blew my mind. I was pissed. And again, I never met Charlie Kirk. I heard of him. I listened to a few of his podcasts in the past, and I never met him. But when he was talking about the investigation of Charlie Kirk, I was mad. I was angry. Like, why would you shut it down? Why would you not let people investigate to rule out anything? But to just shut it down and say, well, it's Utah investigation. It had nothing to do with us, but the FBI asserted themselves into this investigation. So now that they're saying that they got the guy, but it's Utah investigation, case closed because it's a slam dunk. Now, if it's a slam dunk like they're saying, then why not investigate? If you got all the evidence and got everything that you needed and you keep telling the American people it's a slam dunk, which I absolutely disagree because it's not a slam dunk because he never confessed. He never turned himself in, even though it was reported that he turned himself in there's footage of it. We can't find that footage until this day because someone took it. Okay. I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean? So they're lying. They don't have a slam case. They don't have a slam dunk because if they did, they wouldn't be acting like this. But take a listen to what Joe had to say about the investigation of Charlie Kirk.
Posting online prior knowledge of what was about to happen. So a lot of the justification for stopping us from investigating hung on, hey, we've got the guy, his fingerprints are on the gun. We got video of him jumping off the roof. Like, this is a slam dunk case. Okay, even if it is a slam dunk case that he took the shot, what about all the people who had prior knowledge? I just think, considering they knew Charlie was going to be assassinated, and there was enough of them that it wasn't just some rando who maybe he tags every TPUSA post with that. There was enough of them that there's something there. I don't know what that something is.
Well, by definition.
But we haven't seen any arrests.
Nope.
So to me, there's more work to be done. And because that could have been posted from anywhere, that would be in the purview of the FBI or NCTC, or if they're overseas. And to me, I personally did not see any effort being taken to continue to run that.
I agree. No effort at all. Even though there was a lot of people that wanted to make effort, that they shut it down. Kash Patel shut it down, said, no, there's nothing to see, there's nothing to look. So therefore, you have no clearance. They blocked his clearance to even for him to do more further investigation. They told him no. Told him, mind your business, Utah is taking care of it, and that's it. Don't you see what's happening here? Don't you see there's more to it than that? So then when people are like attacking Candace Owens for saying the things that she says, for providing evidence and proof, I don't know why people are attacking her. You heard it from his mouth, what he's saying. They try to block him to investigate. Why is that? Why is that they don't want us to know the truth what happened to Charlie Kirk on 9/10 of last year? Why is that? If they have nothing to hide and their investigation is a slam dunk, why not investigate? Why just trying to ignore that there's nothing there? That makes no sense to them. To me, you're covering up something. To me, they know more than they're saying, which obviously, this is why there's conspiracy theories, because they're not actually telling us the truth. They're not telling us everything. And this is why there's conspiracy theories out there. And that leads me to believe that the government, our government, knows what happened to Charlie Kirk. This was a military, a military hit to Charlie Kirk. And the only one government that I suspect who did it is Israel. Allegedly, I'm going to say. Allegedly. Because I don't want anyone coming after me, God forbid. Allegedly. But we all know, we're not stupid, but we're going to play dumb and say allegedly. And then he continues to say more about the Charlie Kirk investigation.
Publicly, in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he...
You heard that? Closest advisor. Charlie Kirk President Trump had Charlie Kirk as a closest advisor. He's the one, Charlie Kirk is the one that told President Trump the first time, do not strike. Do not strike Iran. And he didn't do it. And next you know it, who got mad? I give you one guess who got mad. Bibi. And then after that, Charlie Kirk is dead. He's gone. Because they knew that Charlie Kirk would have been a big influence in young generation. Young generation. He could have been president, like I said, in the United States of America. And he would have changed a lot of things, a lot of policies, because Charlie Kirk was that guy that would have changed a lot of things and make things better for younger generations, for your children, for my nieces, for their children's children. It would have been good. But a lot of cockroaches, a lot of these old men didn't want that. They want to keep the regime continue going. Corruption, lying, stealing, killing. They wanted to keep the momentum because they've been doing it for the last decade. And now when you have a new, fresh, conservative Republican like Charlie Kirk, who stands up for rights, stand up for principle, they didn't want that. They didn't want that disruption. They didn't want that change. They wanted to keep the same thing that's been going on for decades. And they was not allowing that because Charlie Kirk had a big influence on President Trump. And a lot of these foreign governments didn't like that. They didn't like that. And they saw Charlie Kirk as a threat. So what did? They eliminated him, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. This is just my theory, and it is my opinion. So don't come after me. Anyway, let's continue on.
Also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in
Yes.
the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't
That's
particularly
right.
close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small, you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space. And he said, "Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran," very loudly.
He was single-minded.
And he walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval. So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis, and then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that, it's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to have turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
I don't think you are.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's
You heard that?
unanswered questions.
Let's rewind this back.
We know the pressure because of the text messages.
Hold on, Ken. I gotta rewind this. You heard this?
Stop us
I
from
went
getting into
I went too far. Let me go a little bit. Okay.
ask any
You heard this?
questions
Let's play
about
this
that.
again.
It's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe.
Which that's a lie, because remember I said the judge released 4-page letter saying that they pull out a fragment out of Charlie Kirk, and that fragment was unconclusive, meaning that it doesn't match the rifle that shot Charlie, meaning that would say that Tyler Robinson may be innocent here. And I keep saying that he's not the shooter. He had some type of common knowledge, involvement. He was a decoy, but he did not pull the trigger. Okay, because there's fragments saying that the fragment that they pulled out from Charlie when they're doing an autopsy, that it was inconclusive. So that tells me, and I'm not a forensic, rocket science, common sense, that the fragment does not match the weapon. It's unconclusive. So if that's unconclusive, then that's mean there's probably saying that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter. But his defense team is not saying that at all. And again, I feel like maybe his defense team or his prosecutor trying to set him up to fail and to pin it on him. It's just crazy. You should get a new lawyer. I keep saying that.
He is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to have turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive.
See, sensitive, lying. If that's true, why did they get involved? Why did they get involved in the investigation if it was just Utah? It happened in Utah. Utah should have been done their investigation. Why did FBI involve themselves?
But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
I don't think you are.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions. We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public, that Charlie was under a lot of pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran.
Yes.
And we knew at the end of the 12-day war, at the end of Midnight Hammer, that the Israelis were going to come back and ask us to go back to war again.
Right.
So we have a lot of data points between Butler, the assassination attempts against President Trump, the breaches of his security, what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Can I just ask you to pause on the Charlie Kirk because it upsets me to
me too.
hear what you're saying, to be reminded that he was murdered, but also to hear you confirm what was reported in the media several months ago, that your office had been blocked from investigating his murder, that does not make sense to me.
See, it doesn't make sense to me. It shouldn't make sense to you. You heard it from his mouth, from Joe Kent's mouth. They blocked him to do any further investigation, to rule out anything. They blocked him. Why? Why is that? If they're trying to be transparent and want to get to the bottom of this, why block it? Why block certain people? And I bet you with my whole savings, which I don't even have much, that Cash Patel was involved in this, telling people not to get involved, not to look into this. The Utah Police Department or whoever is investigating, it's a slam dunk, we got this, which all of it was a lie, because they didn't want to have anyone else look into it, because there probably would have been more evidence, more things to reveal that this whole investigation of Charlie Kirk assassination makes absolutely no sense. None of it does from the beginning. None of it made sense. After his assassination, they had workers put concrete in the murder site when it should be like covered with crime scene tape and stuff like that. It's like they want it to go away. It makes no sense. Absolutely made no sense. It's just crazy to me. And that should tell us, you guys, that our government is corrupt, that there's more to it than that, that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter. Now, people are going to say that he is, and that's not my job to convince people of that. People are going to think what they want to think, and that's fine. That's your right. That's your right to feel that way, that you believe that Tyler Robinson is the shooter. He's not. I can just tell you he is not the shooter. There was someone else up there that was wearing tactical gear, took that first shot, and left. And Tyler Robinson was a decoy to pretend that he did shoot Charlie Kirk when he actually didn't. The man never confessed. He never said anything. He still to this day haven't said any word except for his attorneys, probably. That's it. So none of it makes sense. But they want us to believe what they're telling us. Like anything that they tell us is the truth. When it's all a lie. A lie. Anyway, the next segment that I want to show you, that Joe talked about this crazy conspiracy where it all come from, and how people like just saying that this is a conspiracy theories because none of what the government is telling us, or the feds are telling us, is true. One, it doesn't make any sense, and they're not very transparent. So yes, we're going to have a lot of conspiracy theories. Yes, we're going to say this probably happened. This probably happened this way. No, this happened this way. This what's going on with Charlie Kirk. This person's probably involved, because they're not telling us anything. They're not telling us anything. They just tell us the bare minimum from the get-go, and none of it makes sense. So take a listen.
One of President Trump's closest advisors who is vocally advocating.
Oh, this is the wrong clip. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me remove this. This is not it. Sorry. Remove. This is not it, you guys. Let me try to find it. What is this one? Oh, that's not it either. Okay, let me go. Sorry. So many clips I'm showing you guys. Let's see. Oh, there it is.
Clip that tape and keep it on your phone and replay it every day.
This is where like crazy conspiracy theories come from. Basically, you give no information whatsoever on something that's obvious that there should be information. You go silent on it and you say, you can't ask that question, which then creates people who come out of kind of nowhere and they start drawing their own conclusions.
Right.
Knowing the way the internet works, half of them, if not more, are probably going to be so far off in left field and made by legitimate kooks or bots. Then you can just be like, oh, these people asking these questions about that tape at the video range.
It's space
They're
aliens.
All crazy conspiracy theorists. They say it's a UAP or whatever. And so then you've just diverted all attention away from the thing that you're trying to conceal, and now everyone's focused on the crazies. And then the second someone asks a legitimate question, they're crazy.
That is one of the primary ways that the intel agencies and federal law enforcement influence public opinion. It's the way that they hide their own behavior from the public.
And I agree. And that's what they do. They've been doing that for a very long time. And that is so true. To hide their behavior. That's exactly what they do. And it's utterly disgusting. And the beauty part about this, and what is so great, no one's not falling for it anymore. No one's not falling for it, because we know that everything that they're telling us, it's a lie. And I'm just so happy that a lot of us are catching on to this and realizing that what they're telling us is not true, and what they want us to see, they want us to believe it when we can't trust our own eyes. And they want us to be dumb and stupid and naive and listen to everything that they're telling us when all of it is just a lie, just to brainwash us, if that makes sense, which I do not like. Now there's a more video of Joe Kent talking more about Charlie Kirk. Take a listen.
To not go to war with Iran, and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis. And then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that. It's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
no, I don't think you are.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions. We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public, that Charlie was under a lot of pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran. And we knew at the end of the 12-day war, at the end of Midnight Hammer, that the Israelis were going to come back and ask us to go back to war again.
Right.
So we have a lot of data points between Butler, the assassination attempts against President Trump, the breaches of his security, what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Can I just ask you to pause on the Charlie Kirk because it upsets me
me too.
hear what you're saying.
I shared this already, you guys. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to replay it again. But you get the gif of it. Excuse me. This is the last
publicly
video.
In a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with.
Yeah, I share this as well. I'm sorry, you guys. All these videos look all the same. This is a last video of Joe Kent. I believe he was on a stage, and he was very adamant and talking about the war in Iran. Take a listen.
Into detail, I just did a long-form podcast with Tucker, kind of laid out the entire politics of the issue. But look, after serving 20 years, mostly deployed to the Middle East, fighting the wars over there, and just seeing how our country had been lied to and brought down the wrong path in those wars, and that we were getting sucked into another one, and that the American people didn't have the full story, and our country did not have a vital national interest in this current fight. I said, hey, I in good conscience can't do this, because that was a promise I made to myself probably 20 plus years ago when I was deployed to Iraq. Once I realized after my first couple deployments that we weren't there for the reasons that our government told us we were there for, I said, if it's ever my turn, if I'm ever an adult in this situation, I ever have a position of responsibility, I will not in good conscience send young men and women off to die on foreign battlefields.
Good for him. You know, I'm sorry. I give him a lot of praise. I know that wasn't easy for him, but again, you definitely have to watch the full interview of Joe Kent with Tucker Carlson. And I just have to say, and I'm paraphrasing here, when Tucker Carlson asked him, was it hard for you to resign? He said no. It's something that he was led to do, and it was the right thing to do. And that is like the fact that he was more about his principle and what he believed in and what he stand for, and he couldn't no longer, work under the White House and be okay with this. And by him standing up and telling the truth, now he's getting a lot of backlash, and now a lot of people are attacking him and attacking his character. And it's like, to me, it just reminds me of Jesus, when Jesus went around and spreading the gospel and the good news, and he was being attacked left and right. And he had his 12 apostles with him, spreading the good news. and people were just attacking him left and right. And I just feel like with Joe, that's what he was doing. He was telling the truth, telling the American people about the war, which President Trump, which Lindsey Graham, and among other Zionists and the evil people don't want you to know, because they want your brothers and sisters, they want your men and women, they want your children to go to war, to die for a cause that have nothing to do with us. They don't care about the American people. They just want more bodies on the ground to please Israel. That's what they want. Not to make America great, not to help American people, to please Israel. And that's just so backwards to me. I just don't understand it. I will never will understand it, that these evil people rather serve a leader like that when they should be serving their American people and having a strong leader, if that makes sense. And that's not what they're doing. And right now they're just attacking Joe and attacking everything that his whole career and everything. And the thing is, God is with him at the end of the day. God is with him. God will never forsake him, and he got this, and he's not worried. But take a listen to News Nation, how now Joe Kent is under an investigation because he was leaking some information when they know that's not true. Just publicly attacking him and getting back at him because of what he said, and by telling the truth. That's all he did. Just telling the truth to the American people that this war was not necessary. And they don't want us to know about this. They want to keep us in the dark and make us stupid and dumb and to believe their rhetoric. And no one's not believing it. And that's why they're upset. And that's why they're attacking Joe Kent. So take a listen to News Nation about the investigation of Joe, which, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous and absurd, in my opinion.
Chief Joe Kent is under investigation by the FBI. Kent served as director of the National Counterterrorism Center until yesterday, when he abruptly resigned in a letter that claimed Iran was not an imminent threat and Israel had forced Trump to act. Those claims were strongly and swiftly refuted by the White House. According to Semaphore White House correspondent Shelby Talcott, who broke the story, the FBI is investigating Kent for alleged leaks of classified information. Shelby Talcott joins us now. Shelby, thank you so much for being here. So tell us about what your sources are telling you tonight about this story.
Yeah, so 4 sources with direct knowledge of this situation tell me that Joe Kent is under active investigation by the FBI over allegations of leaking classified information. And one of the most notable things about this is I'm told that this predates the resignation. He resigned yesterday, obviously citing the war in Iran. And so that's, I think, important to note, if that is in fact the case, that this investigation has been going on for weeks, if not months, according to the people I've spoken with tonight.
Have you seen any information or been told anything about whether there's an internal DNI investigation? This is coming from the FBI. He worked under Tulsi Gabbard, director of DNI.
So we don't know whether there's an active investigation there, but I think what's also important to point out is we were hearing from sources at the White House yesterday who were arguing to us that Joe Kent was being accused of leaking. And so this sort of started coming out yesterday, and now we're learning that there is actually this FBI investigation. Obviously, we have to wait for more information to come out if there is actual evidence of him leaking. I'm told that that could be coming out soon as this week.
You know, there's no evidence, okay? Clearly, they're grasping the straws, and there's no evidence of that. For a man who served 20 years, employed 11 times, and now you're going to accuse him of leaking information when there's no evidence of that. You're just trying to find something, especially the FBI. The FBI is just so disgusting. I can't stand the FBI. They're so corrupt, it disgusts me, okay? You're trying to pin something on a man that allegedly you're saying that he leaked some information when he never did. To me, it just, all of a sudden now, when he was working as a counterterrorist, there was no investigation. But now that he resigned and he's telling the American people that there was no immediate threat, now you're saying that he leaked information. Again, don't you see it, you guys? It's a setup. They're trying to set this man up, trying to humiliate him, and there's nothing there. And they know it too. There's nothing there. They're going to try to find something there, but there's nothing there. And I hope, Joe has a good lawyer to sue the FBI, or maybe he won't. I don't know. All I know is that it's just absolutely absurd and ridiculous what they're trying to do. They don't like it, and that's what they're doing. It's just crazy. But he's a man of God, a man of faith, and everything's going to work itself out because the truth always prevails. Truth always wins. So it doesn't matter what these people are doing, the FBI, our government, President Trump, it always wins. It always wins at the end of the day. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Now, before I let you go, guys, because I know it's a Friday and it's so beautiful outside, and I just want to enjoy the rest of my afternoon because I want to spend time with my niece because I had a family emergency yesterday. And long story short, my niece had a seizure yesterday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. It freaked all of us out. We didn't get any sleep. I did not go to work yesterday because I wanted to be with my family because family always come first with me no matter what. And luckily, you know, her seizure lasted 10 minutes, which is very scary, unresponsive. Then they told her that she needs to go to Orlando Hospital, which I live right now in Orlando. And luckily, she seems fine, thank God. You know what I mean? She doesn't remember what happened. Things are good. So right now, they're just waiting to do more testing, do an MRI. So I just want to spend time with her before they go back to Melbourne in Florida. Now, lastly, I just want to share this video. Keep her in your prayers and me in your prayers. I really appreciate that. Lastly, I just want to share this video of Candace Owens being very, you know, rightfully so, upset, annoyed, disgust how Erica Kirk can just support these pedophiles that she surrounds herself with, and how no one's not saying anything, and how this is okay. I know that if someone that I know is a pending investigation of being a pedophile, molesting kids, I'm not going to surround myself with that person, especially if I have a business, I'm a CEO. No, until it's clear, until their investigation is clear, they're out of, they're no longer targeted or whatever. I'm not going to surround myself because it just makes you look bad. You know what I mean? When you're around people and pending charges or whatever, it doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for your brand. It doesn't look good for anyone. Now, I'm not saying you should judge anyone, but it doesn't look good, especially when it comes to pedophiles and then you being sued for abusing children. Get out of my face. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to associate with you, and I don't want you to associate with my business. But what Candace is so frustrated about is that Erica Kirk is surrounding people who are being accused of having sex with Romanian children. There's lawsuits left and right. And I just want to share this with you, which I spoke about this a couple months ago. Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside, California, Pastor Greg Laurie is being sued for suspicious of allegation of child abuse. The complaint details sexual assault, inappropriate touching, abuse, which children were made to kneel on a walnut shells or were tied to their bed. It's just crazy. And you should definitely read this article. It's a lawsuit pending in California, this mega church, called Harvest Christian Fellowship. That's why you got to be careful with the mega church. That's why if you ever are searching for a church, I can't even say, a home-based church, make sure you do your research. Make sure you do your research, because with these mega church, you just never know. They think that they're Christ-like, with God, praying to God, reading scriptures. You just never know with people. But take a listen to Candace Owens, what she had to say about that.
Where, like, I thought we all agreed on the topic of like pedophilia, sex trafficking, like the kids. Like I thought that was like, okay, I hate you. Okay, I hate you because of this. Okay, LGBTQ stuff, blah, blah. Okay, we could argue. But then if it came down to it, if you were like, oh, kids are being harmed, like everybody suits up and goes to war. Nobody.
I agree. But what she's saying is no one's not doing that. So basically when kids are being sexually abused, they don't care. They just turn the other eye, turn the other cheek. Getting paid, they don't care. They don't care. I agree. I even told my husband, God forbid, if anyone hurt my children, and I don't have children yet, I have 4 nieces. If anyone hurt my nieces, maybe I shouldn't even say it. God knows what will happen. God knows. So I'm not going to even say it because I'm lying and I don't want to incriminate myself. God forbid. And I mean, knock on wood, I pray and hope it never happens. It won't happen, but you just never know, because we're living in the last crazy days that people are just sick, deranged, and have a kick of abusing children. Utterly disgusting. But yeah, I agree with Candace. You should suit up. You should be like, no, we're against this. Shouldn't be allowed. This is unacceptable. But a lot of these unhinged people, they don't care. They don't care, which is utterly evil and despicable to me.
Looks the other way. And this year has
Yeah.
been the year of really recognizing that people are so despicable that they would take money to look the other way. Like to pretend it's fine. Like it's a totally normal thing for someone to constantly be running adjacent to sex trafficking scandals in their life. It's not normal. You're not going to ever convince me that that is normal.
That's it. I agree. Never. And I agree with Candace. I'm on board with her. You will never convince me either because it's not normal. But they want you to think it's normal. They want you to think this is a normal thing. This is a normal routine. I agree with her. Never. You're never going to convince me. You can try to drug me, give me truth serum, whatever. Brainwash me, microchip. Never. Never going to happen.
Okay? That is normal. That you would not find that to be problematic to say, I am not going to partner with Harvest Church until I see an outcome, because this is another lawsuit pertaining to children being molested, harmed, trafficked from Romania. How could you be this connected to this random country in Eastern Europe? Like,
it's not a coincidence with Erica Kirk. She seems like she's surrounded with people with pedophiles, sex trafficking, child abuse. It's just a pattern with her. I don't understand how people don't see that. It's just weird. Just weird. Continue.
the gaslighting. It's the gaslighting for me. It's just, they're all sickos. Everybody's a sicko. I'm going to have to start unfollowing. I can't even look at the film of people pretending like they have the moral high ground when these people cannot be more beneath us. Like, we should be looking down to these people. Genuinely, I want you to know that. I wouldn't even spit in their direction. Like, they're so despicable to me. If you don't have the courage to stand up and ask questions at the very least about why she is so adjacent to so many sex trafficking scandals, you are useless to me. You don't deserve to have a platform, okay? Go away. Just go away forever.
Yeah, my face.
I can't deal with it. I can't deal with this stuff with the kids, man. What are we, we're talking about the Epstein files? Yeah, Trump, we're still talking about the Epstein files. Like, why are you disgusting? Why are you so disgusting? What a disgusting question to...
Because he's probably on the Epstein files. And again, Candace, he's protecting his pervert pedophile friends. That's why. That's why he keeps saying, we still talking about the Epstein file? Yes, I can't believe it. This man's been dead. We still talking about it? Man, that's crazy. Yeah, we're still talking about it because there hasn't been any transparency about the Epstein files, okay? You still have 3 million files left that you have not released. The DOJ have not released it, okay? You protecting your friends. Maybe you're in it. Because none of it makes sense. So yes, we're still talking about it. And that's why you're trying to distract us with this war so we don't talk, so we can stop talking about the Epstein. We're not going to never stop talking about it. Ever. We demand transparency. We demand justice for victims and survivors because this can no longer happen again to other children. We cannot we cannot turn away a blind eye and saying that sex trafficking is okay. Abusing children is okay when it's not okay. It's a crime, for goodness sake. There's laws in place for that, and they're not even doing it. So laws are good for certain people when they break the law, but when it comes to the elite, rich folks, they get a pass. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It's absolutely disgusting and despicable, and this is our government. And I can't believe that I voted for this man. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I'm utterly ashamed of myself for doing that. I won't make that mistake again.
Ask Kash Patel, no evidence of any sex trafficking.
Kash Patel's an idiot.
I can't. I honestly,
He's a freaking idiot.
Man. The good news, the news is that, there's some rumors that BB might be dead. I don't know if it's true.
Oh, God.
It's news.
I was telling my brother-in-law and my sisters, if that is true, because I don't know if it's true, I'm not going to lose any sleep. I'm not. He's a war criminal. I am not going to lose any sleep if it is true that he's no longer on this earth. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
Didn't say good news. I said news.
It's
conspiracy
news.
theory going around. And like, if you think about children being harmed, like, and the nation of Israel and everything that's happening, do people make excuses for that? They probably will. I mean, how do you have a microphone in your face at all and not say something about Gaza? Take
I
it away.
agree.
Take it away, especially men. Like, we don't need you talking. Like, go outside, go do something useful. I don't know, chop a tree down or something.
That's
That'd
a
be better
wood.
than you taking a microphone and not defending children. How about that? That'd be better for me.
I agree.
Don't have a mic. Let the women do the talking. Let the women gossip and speak about things and worry about the kids. You go chop some wood, okay? Like, I gotta get, I'm honestly like, I don't know what just happened, but I'm like now seeing red, thinking about like all of the men who are just like on YouTube gaslighting us about like everything that's happening at Turning Point USA. Like, it's so disgusting. And it's like the courage of people that work there that are coming out, they're telling you this stuff, they're saying these things, and they're just like, well, Turning Point has money.
I love Candace. I really do. I know a lot of people can't stand her. None of my sisters can't stand her. And to each his own. I like Candace Owens. I never met the woman. I would love to one day. I'm putting it out there. One day. I'm manifesting it. One day. She, she speaks her truth. She's a truth seeker. She just wants justice for her best friend, Shirley. A lot of people say that she's going the wrong way about it. Okay, that's their opinion. But listen, if it was my best friend, I think I'd go heaven on earth to find justice and to find what happened to my best friend. And I wouldn't quit and I wouldn't stop and I wouldn't let anyone get in my way. You know what I mean? Say what you want. Do what you want. But it's not going to stop me to find out the murder of my best friend. And she's being a true friend. The way she goes about it, people may not like it. Okay, that's fine. But I like her. I respect what she's doing. She's Christian. She's a woman of God. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's just doing what any friend would normally do if it happened to their friends. Because no one else is investigating. Everyone's saying the FBI, the Utah police, they're saying that it's a done deal, case closed. We got our shooter. When they know that Tyler Robinson is not the shooter, nothing looks what it seems like. Okay. And the only person that's investigating is Candace Owens, among other YouTubers as well that are putting pieces together, are investigating, because none of what the feds are telling us makes sense, and they want us to move on. Just like they want us to move on with the Epstein files. Just like they want us to focus on the Iran war that makes no sense, the conflict and stuff like that. Well, Trump has another thing going, because this is a catastrophe failure, an epic failure. And Trump's plan of Iran is going to collapse, okay? And it's not going to end well come midterms, November. And that's all I have to say, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here live and listening and watching. I really appreciate your love and your support. Also, you can definitely check me out as well in Rumble, because I have Rumble as well. And you can definitely watch me on YouTube too. So please support me on both channels, YouTube and Rumble. I really appreciate each and one of you. Have a great, blessed weekend. Stay safe. God bless. And I will see you guys on the next live.